Radiant ones, welcome if this is your first time, and welcome back if you are diving into another juicy session. This is Radiant Revival Summit, the easy 1% shifts to unlock your ageless vitality. I am delighted and thrilled to introduce to you an extraordinary colleague and an expert, Dr. Kaz. Dr. Kaz is a mindset coach who has worked with elite athletes and Olympians to help them overcome mental barriers and unlock their full potential. What's incredible about Kaz's approach is that the same mindset principles that work with athletes is the same one that we, as women over 40, get an opportunity to have some exposure and insights into. Kaz also does partner with parents of these elite teens and guides them successfully into helping them get their college athletes recruited. And she has amassed an amazing statistic of over 93% success rate in securing over, get this, $5.4 million in sponsorships and scholarships. Kaz, I am so glad you're here. Welcome to Radiant Revival.
Welcome. So for those of you who can't read behind me or through my head, I always say start strong, finish stronger. So stay till the end because we've got some fun planned for you guys.
So right off the bat, while this sounds all well and good, Kaz, there are a lot of women, a lot of these moms, maybe they are of the teen athletes, but separate from that, just as women, we're going to cherry pick your expertise and apply it to our women over 40. And a lot of us are struggling with mental fatigue and feel trapped by their own mindset. So explain to us why mindset is so critical and how it affects our energy and our vitality levels.
Love the question. You know, it's interesting. I grew up with a mom that had a very positive mindset, and I was born in 56. So she was the first woman in town to own a business. She was the first woman in the state of New York to get a loan on her own. And her positivity and her just willingness to move forward was always impactful on me. And I think the thing that I've seen, because I've been coaching basically teens for 40 years, but I also have been speaking professionally and doing consulting work for close to, 50 years. I started coaching when I was 18. And the one thing I've noticed is since really video games, smartphones, things that tie up time in our brain, that the stress is never ending. And I watch these kids I coach have 2 full-time jobs. And I watch these moms have 2 full-time jobs. Some work a 40, 50-hour week, but then they're running their kids to volleyball practice from 4 to 9. And then they're doing something from 9 to midnight. And it's almost impossible when psychologically they feel like they're never done. And that is a very negative feeling. And what I want people to understand is we live now on adrenaline more than we ever have in the history of mankind. That's teenagers, that's moms, that's me. You know, I tell people all the time, I'll be 69 next March. And the reality is I have love and I have the personality to go all the time. But I know that's not good. And so whether it's unrealistic expectations where they see it on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, or they feel like I need to be a better mom, I need to be a better wife, I need to be a better solopreneur. We take on these definitions of what we should be and become, and we forget we have a life, but we forget to live our life. So my dramatic change was a year ago, almost 2 years ago in next February, when my dog was diagnosed with cancer. And Turks was a rescue, and I love Turks. But I changed my lifestyle because I just said, dude, this is going to be a happy house. This is going to be a house full of energy. But if we need to take a nap at 2 o'clock, we're going to go take a nap at 2 o'clock. And I have the beauty from working at home. So mindset originates in beliefs, and beliefs are in the head. But to support those beliefs, you have to have trust. And trust comes from your heart. And so right side of the brain controls the heart. What feeds the right side of the brain? Song, dance, laughter, games, craziness, food fights, things, co-painting, things that make us laugh till we wet our pants. And society isn't really doing that. I hear people all the time, let's get down to business. No, let's get down to fun. Right side of the brain controls the heart, controls maximum sporting ability, controls maximum business ability. And somehow, especially post-COVID, we seem to have come back with a vengeance. For those who had to stay at home, they were angry. They felt crap. It was almost like a concentration camp mentality. And for those that could go out, they were fearful. Will I catch it? What will happen? Will I bring it home to my mom and dad? And so we lived in being trapped and fearful, which completely put a filter on our entire mindset. I say to the kids all the time, you wake up happy or you wake up crappy. It's a choice. It's internal. If I put on pink sunglasses, the whole world looks pink. If I put on blue, looks blue. When your mindset is what I consider negative, or I call them red card emotions, anything that's negative or neutral, then everything appears that. I'm tired. I don't have enough time to X. Oh my gosh, you got this thing on the weekend. When they should be saying, what's the most fun I can incorporate in my date? How do I take 97 seconds and create the most insane breathing technique that brings peace? How do I surprise and delight my kids when they walk through the door? I can't remember who it was, but there's a famous actor who would always dress up in costume to pick up his ninth graders. It was on one of the dog shows. And she would just literally be like, you'd see her walk out the door like, oh dear God, what's he dressed like? And I mean, he would dress as Goldilocks. And he's this big old burly guy. And the kids would die laughing. And he just loved surprising her. When it got to the point where she would just run out like, what do we got today? So I think, I asked the kids, what have you done that is delightful today? What have you done that you're proud of? What did you do that made you laugh? And if the moms listening to this or the women over 40 listening to this, one simple mindset shift will change everything. If you just say, I'm choosing, like I'm a power and control. I go to the mall or someone nicks a parking space in front of me, like I've been waiting for 5 minutes, I can get mad. But you saw me waiting. You dirtbag, I can't believe you did that. Or I can say, I gave that parking space to you. I'm a giving person. I'm going to go walk. I'm going to go 50 spaces back. As I walk to the mall, I'm going to squeeze my buns. I'm going to have better looking buns than you. And so it's a complete mindset shift of what can I do today to surprise and delight myself, my family, my friends, my husband. Right before we got on here, having spoken to a friend, had a crazy weekend. Worked more hours in 3 days than most people work in 2 weeks. And she sent me a text. It was so funny. It just said, just doing a live check. How are we feeling today? And a smiley face. And I lost it. And I was like, I'm busy all day, but we'll chat tomorrow. But it was that moment of laughter. Took her 6 seconds, 7 seconds to type the text. So that I think is the mindset shift. If we could, when they're traveling on a family vacay, what is one thing we can do in the morning when we wake up that is so deliriously fun before we get the clothes on, schlep to the bus, go to Disney World, Disneyland, to the beach. What can we do?
I love how you really addressed probably something that's been lurking in the background that, a lot of folks want to be done with COVID. And it's not talked about because we're so done with COVID. We don't really want to keep talking about its lingering effects. But I really appreciate, I already have a quarter page of notes that we're running on adrenaline, and you really nailed it. There is so much calling for our attention that keeps us in this heightened awareness state that other generations didn't have exposed to them. And we've heard, if anybody's in the entrepreneurial space or still in the career space, the corporate space, about how many hundreds and thousands of messages that we are bombarded with. There has never been a generation that has had so much exposure where we have to make these decisions and make these filters and filter in, filter out, or do we feel like it's aspirational? Do we feel like it's defeating? And you really called it. And so it is making that choice. And it's not about being pretty. It's not about being perfect. It's making it little, making it light, and making it fun. But here's the next question, because I really want to address this because it speaks real for a lot of our women, but also when you're dealing with an athlete and we're dealing with our women, we're facing mental intense challenges. How can we spark, give us a little, I don't know if you have an exercise or sage advice or word of wisdom, yes, we can make that choice. But what if that we can't even get to that point yet? Let's back it up even further and say, I am so mentally exhausted, fatigued, challenged. I even forgot what fun is. What would you say to an athlete that we could then translate for our women?
So it's interesting you asked that question. About 6 months ago, I had a 17-year-old. I said, what is bringing you the most joy right now? And she looked into the camera and just dead into my eyes and said, I don't think I've ever felt joy. I'm not even sure I know what that is. And she said, could you teach me joy? And I think that's the most difficult question. I think it would have been easier if they said, can you cure world hunger? But teach joy. And so I said, well, I have this thing called the brain language survey where I give to the athletes. And if I'm a coaching executive, I have them take the brain language survey, and it tells me all 5 areas of the brain. So I know their giftings and their gotchas, and I know what they value. And so I said, all right, let's take a step back. You know love. You love your sister. You love your parents. You love your dog. You know love. You give it and receive it. So let's start with something you know. And I said, what is something you love to do? 30 seconds to 2 minutes. And I knew she was auditory. I said, do you like listening to a good song on the radio? Do you kind of dance around a little bit? She goes, yeah. I go, great. So have a dance party. Before you go to bed, shut your door, pick on a song and go crazy, just go totally crazy. I said, when you go to bed, and I remember Rita Davenport was an amazing speaker, very Southern. She actually dated Dolly Parton's husband before Dolly. One of the funniest jokes she ever said on stage was, I never knew why a guitar was shaped the way it was until Dolly Parton picked it up. I thought, Coach Steffi. But Rita Davenport said, ladies, I'm going to give you one piece of advice. If you go to bed as a nag, you are never waking up with a thoroughbred. And I laughed and I thought, oh, she's so right. But yet we nag ourselves. We may not nag our partner, but we nag ourselves. Oh, I should have done this. I should have done this. So my thing is, go to bed happy. If you want one little thing when you're going to bed, go to bed happy. Watch a funny show. Get out photos of the 70s if you were born in if you lived in the 70s. But do something that makes you happy. Play a game. The second thing I think is super important is, I call it a brain bounce. When my kids go to a negative thought, they know First, I want to explain brain chemistry before I teach you what a brain bounce is. In the brain, when you have a thought, it's going to produce a chemical. You have a negative thought, it produces a negative chemical. It weakens you. It weakens your immune system. It actually physically clouds your brain. You get foggy brain, and it physically makes you weak. If you have a positive thought, which I call gold cards, it makes you stronger. It improves your immune system. It lowers your cholesterol, and it makes you almost invincible to disease. I remember in late 80s, a doctor saying, if I were to cough on 100 people and I had an infectious disease, we know statistically 67% of those people would get the disease. I raised my hand. I'm like, so why don't the other 33 get it? What about them? If it's the same virus, bacteria, because they live a happy life, because their immune system is so impenetrable, they can't get the illness. So when you exercise, you build your immune system. When you laugh, you build your immune system. When you think positive thoughts, you build your immune system. So knowing that, I'm going to take it one step further, and people are going to be like, oh no. If you have one negative thought, it takes 7 positive thoughts, 7 gold cards to neutralize, to bring you back to ground zero.
It's like positive and negative reviews. When they talk about when there's good news or bad news, people will tell 7 other people about the bad news. They'll only tell 1. So there's a parallel relationship there.
And the deal is, you don't have one negative thought. You have 1 hour, 1 week, 1 month. So I tell the kids, you stinking think over a bad, I missed the goal, or I didn't, place first in the race. Then you think about that for an hour. You now need 7 hours of uninterrupted people telling you how good you are. Oh my gosh, your hair's amazing. Doesn't have to be about their sport, just has to be positive. Your English paper was, delightful. So I just refuse to stay in negative thoughts because I don't want that much power. So the brain bounce is really easy. You can stop negative chemicals from being produced one of 3 ways. And this is one of my stress busters. You have a love moment. So you think of something, the birth of your child, sitting around the Thanksgiving table, with the whole family, something just so loving. And it doesn't matter what it is, but I have 2 love moments. Same friend in Australia. Well, actually, one is with her and one was with my 2 pups that I got in Australia running the beat. Both of them are filled with love. I play the whole scene. I hear it, I see it, I smell it, I experience it. I stop in the same place. It stops all negative chemical production. Then you have a laughter moment. It can be something you did, your family did, your kids did, your best friend did. A wet your pants laughter moment. Sometimes I just
keep saying that, but oh my God, I don't want to pee.
Well, I tell people, for the women, you can do those little pee pads. But I seriously would love
You're
to
saying the pee pads are worth it for this. Huh?
I know.
You better
until
get
I was
affiliations with the pee pads.
I didn't really think about pee pads, but seriously, you want to have a moment where you are just holding your stomach. Like you can't stop laughing. Could be a funny show. I have a chapter in a book I read. It's about a wedding. The book was written by Robert Fulghum. He talks, it was on fire when I laid down on it. That was the name of the title of the book. He was one of the best authors, best pastor, best teacher. In this wedding, I probably have read it 100,000 times. And no joke, I probably read it 3 times a week. I almost know it by heart. And I just cry. I laugh so hard, I cry. So you can have that, a laughter moment. I'm not a fan, but I guess they're funny cat videos on TikTok, whatever. But just same moment makes you laugh. Usually with the kids, it's always on their brothers or sisters. sibling laughter moments are evil, but they're like, oh, my brother did it. And they laugh. And the younger brother's like, really? You had to tell her that? And then the third one, anybody can do. So you can be so mad, like, it's fire. And it's called a what the heck moment. So for my athletes, say I have a golfer and he's just had 3 bogeys in a row and he couldn't spit fire. They are to take their golf club. Imagine they're at a PGA tournament and use their opposite swing. If they're a righty, they do a lefty and they do it for 7 times. And their brain goes, wait, what? You could do something so easy by putting your hands together. My index finger that's on top is my left hand. So you put it together for a few seconds. And then you take it apart. Then you put it together with the other hand's index finger on the top. And your brain goes, wait, do I have all my fingers? Where's my thumbs? What's going on? So easy.
It feels weird and awkward, but cool at the same time.
What the heck moment? I encourage my kids on the morning of a big event when they're getting nervous, they might have a stomach ache, like, oh gosh, eat their breakfast with their opposite hand. So please use a spoon, put on a bib, but just that action. And the brain is like, what? Stops all negative thoughts, all negative chemicals. So the brain bounce is delightful. A love moment is the strongest, then a laughter moment. If you can't do either, then a what the heck. And Eric, I have people write to me. I'll say, start counting backwards from 97 by 3. 97, 84, 91, 88. Can't have a negative production. Close your eyes and walk backwards. 17 steps. I always say, please have a friend. I don't want you walking off the edge of a cliff. But there are things you can do that just simply makes your brain go, what? And the minute your brain does that, you cease all negative chemical production. And what does that entail? Many times it's adrenaline and cortisol.
This is so valuable. Like, it's such great sage advice because I love that these are all resources within our power, literally within reach, let alone even within our own mind. Like, we don't need, heavy operating machinery. We don't need outdoor equipment. And so this is something we can do. It's within our power and it is a conscious shift. And I'm going to say probably a lot like your athletes, this takes practice. If this is the first time hearing anything like this, that it's something new, like you might go for a spell, you like do it today and then you like, oh yeah. And then you remember it a little bit later, or you listen back to the recording and you're going to hear Dr. Kaz and be prompted and do it again. But what a fantastic thing. And you can do it quietly other than the laughter. Like, do we have to? Just because sometimes, there's that little question on the shoulder. How long do we need to stay in these love, laughter, what the heck moments? Like, can it just be as long as it takes, or are we looking for a target time of 30 seconds, a minute? Like, there are some type A people like myself that want to get it right. So steer us in the proper direction. Give us a realistic expectation. Like, how long do we do this for? And what if we're doing it? Well, okay, how long do we do it for? We'll start with that.
In the famous words of, I think it was Stu McLaren, as long as it takes. So here's the thing. If you have a negative thought and you brain bounce, you're going to spend 30 seconds in that thought. If it's a love thought, you may spend a couple of minutes because you remember it. You're like, oh my gosh, I remember that. I think that was amazing. And you just go back there and you live it. And then you get another negative thought, like someone cuts you off in traffic and you're like, jerk. Then I go to my second love moment. And I tell people, it's, as you said, it is a training. I lived the first 30 years of my life in anger. I was angry at everyone. The joke was the reason I became such a good pianist and they thought I would be a commercial or a concert pianist was I was always angry. When I was angry, I went to the piano. That's how I pounded out my anger. I just played songs. And so I got really good because I was really angry. So, for people that are power and control and they're constantly tying their identity to their self and their self-worth to their net worth, they have the moments of achievement. And what I tell people is, I'm pretty sure all the butterflies in the world do not compete with each other. Oh, nice colors, but I think my colors are better. What do you think of my wings? And so I think I know when we start to compare or we put labels on things, that limits us. So if I'm a show pony, I want the biggest pasture. I want millions of acres in my pasture. When I compare myself to another show pony, that fence comes in a little bit. And I do it again, and I do it again, and I do it again. Comparison is absolutely a cancer in competition. And even if you're not competing.
But wait, I got to ask this. I got to jump in, if I may.
Go right ahead.
You're working with athletes, and it's inherent in the athletic experience to be in comparison. The whole thing is about who did it better, faster, stronger, whichever, lane it is. And for a lot of us as parents of these athletes, or internally, maybe we're not an athlete, but I'm a corporate athlete, I'm an entrepreneur athlete. Like, I have the athlete spirit. I'm competitive. I want to win. I want to achieve. Comparison, isn't there a healthy part? And I don't want to lose that, right? If part of the aspiration is to drive me to get better. So what part is the comparison that is, the thief of that joy? Where does it become dangerous so that we as women, as we're looking at the pool of the other 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 somethings, we want to feel good about where we are in life, even though maybe you wake up and go, what the hell? This is not the life I thought I was living. So how can we use that comparison? Maybe we're comparing it to our expectations, to what reality is. How can we kind of tame it and really harness comparison in a good way?
I don't think anybody I've ever spoken to says, oh, this morning I was comparing myself to a world-class Olympic athlete and I just felt wonderful. Today I was comparing myself to a billionaire and man, I crushed it. Comparison's never going to be positive. It's the way we're designed. And the other thing it does in the brain is if I'm thinking about you and I'm comparing myself to you, I'm not thinking about me. No, your brain is real estate. When you think about someone else, you compare yourself to another entrepreneur. My athletes never look left or right. They look ahead. They don't. It is the hardest thing to teach, but at the end of the day, I'll say on a scale of 1 to 4, tonight when we left the field, what was our confidence? I was at 4. I crushed this guy. He knocked him out. Awesome. Where was our focus? A couple of times I was a little off. I probably 3.5. It is always about themselves. You have to learn to compete to a level of excellence within yourself. Because if you don't, instead of living your life, you're going to be living someone else's life.
Oh my gosh, wait. We got to say this again. Your brain is real estate. Holy heck, I'm not sure I've even heard that before, but that is such a valuable example. That is this is gold. Your brain is real estate. And so comparison is like a billboard, you're giving it away.
Yep.
And confidence and focus. Oh my goodness. So compare to your excellence of self, not excellence of others.
Correct.
Oh, God, I feel like I just lost 5 pounds. Holy heck. Is this a weight loss program? Holy smokes. There was a lot of pressure with that. Goodness.
Looking left and right at your competitors. I'll never forget, not this Summer Olympics, but I think it was the previous one when Michael Phelps, and I can't remember who he was competing against, it was another American, and they were doing, I want to say it was either the fly or the breaststroke. And Michael was probably 100th of a second behind this guy. And I used to coach Olympic swimming. I did the mindset version for the Olympic swimmers in Australia. And right at the end, in the last millisecond, I saw the guy in the lead look. And Michael, I think it was breast, he took a dive and went under and touched. And that look cost the other Olympian first place. because he was comparing himself. And it sounds cold, but, I want my players, they said, we have this mindset. If they're in a team sport, you can play, and even if you're an individual like golf, tennis, which are still teams, but you're relatively playing individually. If you comparing yourself to others, you're losing energy. And when you lose energy, you don't play as well. So I need you to solely focus on yourself. This is when you get selfish, and it's your game, your putting game. So be selfish. Take that 40-minute, set the timer, put candles in the bathroom. I leave the door open. Turks will walk in. He'll look in the tub. He's a 19-pound Jack Russell. You're like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, he's having a bath. And I'll be honest, I love listening to good motivational podcasts. When I'm in the tub, I'll just dim the lights, and I have I do Epsom salts, cup of Epsom salts, half a cup of baking soda, some lavender oil, and I can fall asleep in the tub. And that's my little mini luxury, because I do love hot baths. That is my jam. For other people, it might be, I'm going to go to a Pilates class. This is what you say, not I'm going or I'm going to do. You say, today, I am treating myself to Pilates. It's like an ice cream. Like people treat themselves to a great cappuccino, ice cream, treating myself. I got back into doing a lot of holistic healthcare things, cryotherapy, light pods, PEMFs. I do reflexology. And I now say, I used to say, mommy's going to be gone a while. She's going to go to reflexology. Now I say, mommy's treating herself. She's going to reflexology. And just by saying that, he's all excited, like, it's a treat. That's the mindset shift.
That is so good. The brain is real estate, and compare yourself to the excellence that you want to see in yourself. And I mean, such a helpful example. This is why you are a mindset ninja. Or I don't know if ninja is the right word, but I felt like you just like snipered out, like, the objection. And it makes sense. The fact that the person in the lead ready to win the gold looked and lost because he looked. If you just stay focused, do your thing. Oh my, it makes so much sense. And I'm so glad you shared that with us, because I know that especially, it seems like moms over 40, we're also in this competitive market of being a super mom and being, we have to be really good at social media. We need to, we have a corporate ladder, we have the family ladder, we have, I don't know, the neighborhood ladder, the HOA ladder. Like there are so many things that we got to climb. It's exhausting. And it feels like mentally we have a lot of the similar aspects as an athlete. We don't get a medal ever. We don't get a trophy. We don't get a bouquet of roses or, the pot money. It would be nice. We don't even get a thank you. And so what a great way, if you need to say it's a treat, make it a treat, because you more than earned it and you deserve it inherently.
I think it's sad. I've been doing this for over 40 years. And gosh, I think in the first couple of years when I would talk to teams, I would say there are two mindsets. You play to win or you play not to lose.
Wait, I'm leaning in. I have to start a new page. I'm either playing to win or I'm playing not to lose.
So play to win is positive, and you're really focused on you, what you need to do. Say it's basketball, you, the ball, the hoops, and your team members and your coach. Nothing else matters. Crowd, girlfriend, parents, clock, nothing matters. You so go into the zone. There's 3 focuses. That's it. When you're playing not to lose, it's like BBs in the dryer. Everything. Oh, that ref, that wasn't a foul. So now they're blaming the refs. It's the blame game. And they're looking at the clock. Oh my gosh. And they're looking at something else. My kids are very selfish when they compete. They only think of themselves. And it's not in a trying the best. It's what do I need to do to make us all better? That's the question they ask. Where do I need to be right now to make us all better? I say to moms, it is not a sin to teach your kids how to use the washing machine in fifth or sixth grade. Totally easy nowadays, way easier than it was. It's a gift. You are giving them a gift to teach them how to fold laundry and iron. And that gift they can do in their time. My mom taught us how to cook when we were 8. Sunday evenings, we could cook anything we wanted. I was a chubby little kid. First, probably 6 weeks, I was like, how do you make pancakes? How do you make fried bread dough? How do you make shortcake? And then all of a sudden I was like, Kim, learned all that. How do you make chicken and biscuit? Like, I love your chicken and biscuits. How do you make chili? And so I believe when you equip your kids, I get mad. I tell them in 10th grade, you need to know where your competition is, when it starts. You need to get online, you need to book it, and you need to have your parents come with their charge card. And I said, you're not doing your child anything. Oh, I booked his golf tournament. Let's see, that one is in Austin. Kids, I'll say, where are you playing golf this weekend? I don't know. You need to know. This is your golf tournament. Your mom's not getting a scholarship. She's not getting recruited. Like, these are common themes. I grew up, I went to college. Although I didn't crochet, my mom taught me. And I didn't knit, my mom taught me. I did sew. She taught me very well. I cooked up a storm. People were eating ramen noodles for 19 cents. I was getting a penny an egg at the egg farm at the University of Florida. And I was making quiche. I would go in and you could walk in at 10 minutes to 9 before Winn-Dixie closed. Okay, how many roasted chickens do you have left? Because you're going to throw them out. Well, they were like $1.29. I'll give you 25 cents for each one. So I'll take it for like $2. I'd skin off the meat. I was having all kinds of quiche. I was having chicken, chili, fire meat. They would come in the door and go, I lived in co-op. They'd be like, what are you eating? How can you afford to eat that way? It's costs like 3 cents. So don't give your kids an A match. Give them life skills. My brother, before he went to college, had to sew a button-down shirt just like this. So my mother knew he could fix anything. Mom, I need my pants in. Oh, you're at college. Hem your pants. Any buttons sewed on. Yeah, I'm not kidding. It's very difficult to get these collars in a button-down shirt. It's really difficult. But that was her expectation. The other thing, when you go to bed at night, I want you to do 3 things. If you have kids, do what my mom did. Tuck them into bed. I don't care what age. She used to say to me, Mouse Fate, these are the 3 things I love most about you. One day I destroyed over $3,000 of pottery in 1959. Wasn't insured. Took her 3 years in her business to save up for it. She was a florist. And it was an accident. And I destroyed every pot before she could get it insured. And that night, I'll never forget. She said, Mouse Fate, what I love most about you is you stick to your convictions. You were honest. You told me what happened. And she said, I just love the fact that you love life. It wasn't about blame or shame. So number 1, tell the people you love them, why they're special. Number 2, when you make a list of the ones you love, put yourself at the top of the list. Go to bed and tell yourself what you love about you, what you're proud of that you did that day. And the third thing, always fall asleep with a great thought, because what you fall asleep with plays over and over again in your subconscious mind all night long. So my kids think of their best performance. They even improve it by 33.33%. We have this thing called rule of thirds. They go to bed having the best baseball, the best football, the best run. So if that takes them 6 minutes to visualize, they get 10 runs an hour of best ever performance. In 8 hours, they get 80 runs. That's more than they can do in 4 seasons. all of their collegiate or their high school years. What if you thought about that in business? What if you thought, I'm closing an executive coaching contract for $10,000, and you go through, you put a face on the person, you give them a name, you talk it out, you do this. And at the end, they say, this is exactly the coaching program I need. I'm in. Here's my card. So those are my three things to wake up happy.
Oh my gosh, they're powerful. And I knew that we're like at time. So I have a request for a bonus question, because this is something you and I have talked about before we even got on the air right before this. And you really wanted to share how important it is, because some key things. So you talked, and you mentioned this before, how important it was for de-stressing, especially for parents and their teens, but for the women when we're traveling. Hit it.
Stress goes high if you're on vacation. Please remember that good stress and bad stress chemically in the brain are identical. Win the lottery for $5 million, you're going to produce adrenaline, cortisol, and all these amazing stress hormones. Have a car accident, whatever, something negative, same exact chemicals. So it's not if you will produce them, it is what do I do when I produce them? So my kids know there are certain things they can do when they travel that makes the hotel room more like their bedroom. They can take their pillow, take their pillow. If they can't, take their pillowcase. Smell is the biggest sense. Everybody thinks it's sight, it's smell. So your pillowcase unwashed smells like you. But if you take your pillow, your whole pillow, now your neck is comfortable. Your brain is like, oh yeah, this is my pillow. So when I would travel in Papua New Guinea, the beds weren't nice. I literally had a silk, like internal sleeping bag that I would put in the bed, and I would get in it because I just didn't trust that the sheets were clean. But I was in silk. It was like, oh my gosh, this is just like home. So if you do aromatherapy, a lot of hotels don't have bathtubs. I always ask for a bathtub. I take bath salts, or I'll get those little mini bath bombs. I treat myself to a hot bath. So there are things that you can eat, avoid sugar, caffeine after 1 o'clock. That physically will help you de-stress. Avoid a lot of dairy products because they bring mucus. So when you start traveling or vacationing, you automatically kick your immune system into high gear. You're smelling things through the plane. You're driving on highways you've never driven on. So that's stressful. So I like to build in, I'll tell the kids, take a bracelet making. Go to Walmart and get a bracelet making, or Hobby Lobby, or Michael's, and get it on sale. And then make a bracelet. Or moms, do an adult coloring book, or gling a pair of shoes with your kiddos. There's a bazillion crafty things that you can do for 27 minutes. I love toe painting. Toe painting is you get finger paints, you put 4 or 5 colors on a paper plate, you put a garbage bag down, cut it open, put a sheet of paper on it, stand up. It's only toes, no fingers, no hands. Dip your big toe and then create a picture. And I always tell the kids, if you can create a picture that I can recognize what it is, I'll buy you a movie ticket. So you and the kids are toe painting, some, teammates are in there. So much fun. It is so relaxing. Stimulates the right side of the brain. What's the right side of the brain? Controls the heart. So again, we're getting these really like endorphins. They're called happy hormones. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. 3 of those are produced in the brain. 1 is produced in the gut. 95% of serotonin is in the gut, and that's the mood regulator. So ladies, if you are constantly in what I call a PPTM, a poo-poo thought mood, then we need to get rid of the poo-poo thoughts. And to do that, you need to improve your gut. You need to improve foods, actually turn the serotonin on. And then I tell people, and took some notes. I want to look down and see, oh, deep breathing. I love deep breathing. They're all different types. And in my freebie, you have to wait for a second for me to tell you what it is, but in my freebie, we're going to talk about all kinds of deep breathing. I take brain foods with me, things that I know literally make me smarter because they calm me down. Probably the best thing I can tell you right now is know what you value, know your core values. I'm a power and control first and a precision person second. So I love knowing I have power and control. I have control and power to take a bath. I have control over certain things. My precision is my checklist. I keep a checklist in every piece of luggage I own. I keep makeup, toothbrush, makeup remover in every suitcase I'm ever going to take on the plane. Just in case I forget my good one. But I'm good with that. I wait to 40% off at CVS. I buy 6 lipsticks. They all go in the back. So it is that, you want, if you are a precision person, you want to have that plan. You don't want to be so rigid. 6:15, everybody has to go to dinner. Please. I think my gut's okay if we eat at 6:30. So have grace, have flexibility, have a little spontaneity. And lastly, I know y'all, if you don't think I'm nuts, you're really going to think I'm nuts. There is a process. If you watch the last NCAA football championship in January, it's called grounding. And you want to ground yourself to the area. You want your kids to ground themselves to their sporting event. So you go barefoot on the basketball court. You go barefoot on the soccer field. You go barefoot on the golf course. For you, you go barefoot. You walk on the beach. Hear the water lapping. You go barefoot. Nice grass at the hotel for about 7 to 11 minutes. So Earth's energy comes up through you. The rain they've had, the wind they've had. Has it been a traumatic year for the city? You want your energy to align with that energy so you sleep well. Night. When I used to get a chiropractic adjustment in Australia, he was across the beach and he would say, you need to go walk the beach for 23 minutes. Dude, I don't have time. You know I don't have time. I have meetings after this. I don't have time. I need you to ground the adjustment. So either you're going to walk for 23 minutes or I'm not seeing you the next time your back goes out. It's reps. And I would always say, don't try to outpower the power and control. He goes, I'm not. It's a choice. I'm giving you the choice. So that's my little tidbit of, but I do, can we get into the freebie?
Yes, I was just going to say, first of all, that was so powerful. And I so appreciate the pillow or the pillowcase because my first objection was, I don't have room to pack my pillow. And there's like, you got room for the pillowcase. Like, slay it. You just slayed every objection. And, especially, again, these women, we've done everything for everyone else. And the excuses stop now to not do it for ourselves. Like it's, we're going to have a medical incident if we don't. I mean, it leads to that, right? And so there's so many different things that we can curtail just by starting to be kinder and realize where we do have power. We don't need to be, quote, held hostage by, the hotel and their sheets. Like bring our own. And the fact that you brought your own little silk sleep sock, total empowerment. And we now have an opportunity to create a little bit more, to think a little bit more creatively about what are our needs and how can we take care of them and not expect someone else to know them, right? We might want someone to think of it for us, but really we need to know what it is for us first. So with that, tell us about this freebie. I'm so excited about the gift that you have to offer.
I am super excited about it. I have put together, I don't know if you want to call it a mini series, a masterclass, but I put together 3 short videos to go along with a PDF on 23 ways to de-stress and have fun while you're traveling or in competition. And a lot of what I talked about is in there, but there are some additional things in there that is like, wait, what's a sleep eye pillow? What is this? And so I walk you through, I have show and tell, supplements and food and just, like treats, like decadent, ridiculously tasting desserts that have no sugar, all brain food. Like I have a breakfast, I call it my breakfast brain fudge or brain bar. And it's amazing. Total brain, no sugar, and except maybe from the natural fruits. And it energizes kids. Like they walk around, it's a cross between a chunky bar and a Reese's peanut butter cup. And the kids love it. They'll be in the horse barns. I coach eventers. They'll be in does your mom know you're eating fudge for breakfast? My mom made me fudge for breakfast. And I show you how to make it with one thing to clean, like one bowl to clean. People are like, okay, this is pretty darn good. Like I'm impressed. So this is something I put together with a lot of love, but I'm also giving it out to like my athletes. Like when you go to my freebie page, which is at I am competitive, iamcompetitive.com. And so there'll be stuff you can buy like $17, $7, like $1 million. No, just joking. But there'll be freebies. So if you see something in your mom of an athlete, you're like, ooh, what's this? Like mini series on how to interview like a pro with college recruiters, like grab it. That's why I decided I'm just going to put everything on one page, the freebies, whatever. But this is stellar. I've been doing this for 40 years with kids. And every year I just look for what's easier. What can I pack that I know is good brain food? What can I pack that's going to help me sleep better? I have gummies on there that put me to sleep. And I have tested everything. CBD, what am I thinking? Valerian, melatonin. These gummies from CVS are insanely good. 2 gummies taste like blackberries, and you're out for 67 hours. Like,
Oh, that's so helpful. And I love that.
In there. I'm super excited, Kim. This is a gem.
Well, and no matter what season of life the woman is in or what season of year she's in, we could all benefit from having some expert tips for when we're traveling and how to distress. And this is going to be a beautiful resource they can refer to back time and time again, because maybe you don't have time to use all of the things on because it's like a little staycation or maybe it's a little layover. But if you're going to be gone for any longer period of time, you'll have more opportunity to experiment and explore and reap the benefit of all of your years of experience. Which, Kaz, you have just blown everything away out of the water. Like, thank you so much for validating all the things that maybe we have felt, but we didn't have words for, things that we might have thought, but we didn't know how to articulate. And you really put it into a concise package where we can control our power and our control. We can be precise, but also the flow and order of things, like how important it is to take care of our brain in the ways that we can do that. So I cannot wait for the transformations that are going to happen as a result of this and the beautiful energy and vitality that you sparked.
Thank you, Kim. This was so much fun. I look forward to seeing how they put the applications in. By all means, if you come up with something that you think is amazing, it just totally relaxes you, it stimulates your brain, it enlightens your heart, send me an email at Kaz@sports with an S, sportsbrainglobal.com. Let me know what works. And if you send me a toe painting picture that you and your kids have done or you and your friends have done, if it's you and friends, preferably no wine before we're toe painting, but if you send me a picture and I know what it is, I can guess what it is, I will send you another free gift.
Oh my goodness. And it just doesn't stop. Kaz, again, thrilled and delighted that you were here. Thank you so much. Radiant ones, you're going to want to hear this on replay again. I look forward to seeing you in the next session. Bye for now.